How are we doing? Okay, I need to get this off of my mind because it's doing my head in and it's literally giving me the biggest knot in my stomach. So I know this is for somebody that needs to hear this because it is literally just like the most tumultuous, horrible, anguishy blah that's going on with my stomach, and I feel like if I share this with you then it will go away because this is not how I feel at all. So I know this is for somebody who needs it. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a superpower that my mum taught me when I was really little, and I've spoken about this on a few different occasions, but I'm going to elaborate because it's just the most amazing thing. Like, honestly, just the most amazing thing. So, people hurt us all the time. All the time. All the time. It is completely impossible to go through any amount of time without being hurt by somebody. And this is nobody's fault, and nobody is worse than anybody else, and it doesn't happen more to some people than it does to others. It's not true. It's fallacy. Okay. So I'll tell you a little story. So when I was like in middle school, and I think it was like year 7 and 8. I don't know how old you are at that point. But I was getting bullied on the bus on the way home, and the people that were doing it were like proper teenagers, like probably in their last year of school. And they would like empty my pencil case on the bus, and like I really loved my crayons and my pencils. It was a big deal. And obviously they would roll around the bus and I couldn't get them, and yeah, it just wasn't very nice. And I was really upset, obviously, and I got off the bus early and I walked the rest of the way home. And I finally got home really upset, and my mum was in the front room watching some TV or whatever, some soap or whatever, and I plonked myself down on the settee next to her in a bit of an upset and was bordering on crying. My mum was like, "Is everything all right? Are you okay?" And obviously as soon as I started talking I started crying, and I bawled out basically that I was being bullied by these people on the bus, and you know, how dare they treat me so badly, and I've not done anything wrong to them, and all this kind of stuff. And my mum went quiet for a bit. And she just went, she was like, "I feel really sorry for them. Like, don't you feel sorry for them?" And in my upset, I looked at my mum like, what the fuck did you just say? And was just completely horrified that my mum hadn't stuck up for me or was offering empathy to people that had hurt me, and the fact that she wasn't sticking up for me, and all this sort of stuff. And I stormed upstairs, slamming the door, and stormed upstairs away from my mum up to my bedroom. Had a cry, and you know, did all the teenage angst and listened to some music and decided that I didn't want to go back to school and all this sort of stuff. And I hated my mum because she was not sticking up for me and all this kind of thing. And once I'd calmed down, and decided that my mum wasn't the devil, I went downstairs and I tried to speak to her about it. And she said something that was quite profound, and it's only been in the last, well, since she's passed away really, that I've actually properly understood it deeply to my core, what she was actually meaning, because I don't think I was quite old enough to really grasp everything of what she said. She did make me feel better at the time, but I don't think I completely understood the magnitude of what she was saying until later on in life. My mum was an extremely calm person. Like, there wouldn't be a hurricane that could move my mum. She was the strongest person that I have ever met in my entire life. And I don't mean strong because she was aggressive. I don't mean strong because she was physically that able. But my mother's mind was like steel. And Buddha calm. Buddha calm. Like, there would be nothing to shake my mother. And so I've elaborated a little bit on my mum's teachings, because what she was implying was that we should focus not our attention on our own pain, but on theirs. Because when people hurt us, that is their reality, not ours. So I've spoken about this in other videos. When people lash out at us, or when people say horrible things to us, or when people bully us or try to make us feel a certain way, is because they actually feel this way inside. They feel less than. They feel like you are better than them, and that is why they need to bring you down a peg. That's where the saying comes from. When you see happy people, when you see content people, when you meet these people, they don't say horrible things. They don't put others down. They don't need to challenge other people, because they know that that person is equal to them in all ways. And when somebody has a low opinion of themselves, you will find that these are the people that do the most harm, because this is how they feel inside. And the way that my mum explained it was that the people bullying me on the bus actually probably thought that I was better than them. And my mum brought to my attention that I was one of the best artists in my high school, and that a lot of people would be very jealous of that, because it's a rare talent, and I was very good for my age. And she pointed out to me that the reason they were going after my pencils is because that's where my power was. In other words, they were going after my tools that I use to be a really good artist. And as soon as she said that, I was like, okay, now I understand. And then she elaborated by saying, they think that if they take your tools away, then you won't be a good artist anymore. And she smiled. And I said back to her, well, I can go and get some more pencils, can't I? And she said, well, what are you worried about then? It makes me emotional. Like, my mum was so incredibly clever. God, it chokes me. And applying this to every corner of my life has changed my reality and changed my world to the point where I no longer get bothered by what anybody says about me or does things to me, because I know that it's all in their own reality. So if somebody has taken something from you, if someone has robbed something from you, taken something physically, know that they need that more than what you do. Know that they haven't got that. And know that the universe will give you that thing back times 10. But don't ever retaliate. Don't ever fight back. Don't ever try and grab it back. Let them have it. Because the person taking things from you is in the scarcity mindset. And it doesn't matter what they try and take from people, they will always be in scarcity mindset. And what will happen is the universe will take from them in other ways, because that's universal law. Everything carries an energy. So if someone takes money from you, money will be taken from them in other ways. Or they will be constantly scraping for money all the time. If somebody is constantly calling you names and putting you down, then that will happen to them. That's how they feel inside. And I'll just finish off by saying, we live in a world that is very corrupt. Very, very corrupt. But it's in our reality and how we look at the world around us that either puts us in a place of fear or puts us in a place of power. That's our reality. That's what we are in control of. And I promise you that if you let things go with grace, whether that be somebody throwing insults at you or stealing things from you or losing your trust or trying to think of some other things, or providing horrendous service to you, know that if you leave them in grace and take your energy elsewhere, you will be rewarded by the universe. Because it means that you're living in an abundance mindset. The universe will reward you. And I bring it back to the room full of toys. If a toy gets snatched from you, just turn around and realise that you've got a room full of toys to play with. My mum always said, you just don't have to play. And it's so, so simple. So the next time that somebody wants to come and mess with your energy or take something from you or use you in any way, know that it is a reality that is created deep inside them. And it's not for anything for you to get involved with. And all you need to do is just take your energy away. And it will be returned to you in a different way. I hope that helps. Learn my mummy's superpower.